So how can we apply this concept of having combining different types of indicators? And that's where we call the term validator indicators are. You're validating something. So kind of how it works is you choose a primary. This is your ruling concept. This is the thing you're really searching for when you're out there evaluating securities. And so you have this primary indicator that you use all the time. And then you have a secondary indicator that comes into play once your primary has maybe found an opportunity, and your secondary is going to be kind of the confirming or say, yes, that looks good to me, the secondary indicator, so it's a go or maybe a no-go as far as investing in that security. So for example, you might use a simple moving average crossover rule as the primary. Real easy, right? You see the price curve above the line, below the line, as we learned in that indicator. So you're using that as your primary, and you're really out there looking for those types of situations, and you're watching for those. So that's your primary. And then you might use, let's say, for example, a momentum indicator like the RSI to confirm what you're seeing with that simple moving average. So your RSI is saying, yes, this is a buy or a sell opportunity, and then it's kind of confirming what you're seeing with the other one. So that's two indicators working together. You can add a third or fourth too, but it's to start with like two indicators together. And then you take action like buying or selling, or sometimes, very often actually, do nothing until the situation lines up where your primary indicator is strong and your confirming secondary indicator is confirming that primary. It's validating, it's a validator indicator, and confirming that, that indicator, and then you're making a stronger choice with that. And then around validator indicators, it's important to choose them ahead of time, right? You're not doing this on the fly. You're not doing that simple moving average and say, oh, today sounds like a momentum day, or I feel like a volatility measure today, and what about those Bollinger Bands? You know, you're going to choose them ahead of time because it's part of your overall strategy. It's part of your overall setup as far as trading. So those secondary ones, you're going to choose ahead of time, and you're going to decide how much emphasis you're going to put on that secondary indicator. You know, how much of a validator is that for your primary? And you could put a strength measure behind that secondary indicator. Like here's a simple one. Like if the validator indicator says yes, the same thing, it confirms it fully. It's a go. Take action. Or it could be a hard stop. Like if it says no, the confirmation's not approved, I'm not trading at all because I need to have that confirmation. A yellow might be a warning sign as far as, you know, am I going to take action or not? It might be close but not fully as far as, you know, maybe that secondary indicator. Maybe it's giving some signals, let's say as a buy signal, but it's not fully, you're still not fully comfortable with it. The key in this, again, is the choosing ahead of time, that what is your secondary indicator and what are you going to do when you get that measure? Are you going to make it be real strong as in a go or no go, green or red, stop, go or stop? Or will you give a little bit more flexibility around that secondary indicator in terms of, you know, your primary? And that's a key thing with validator indicators is once you've established your plan, be disciplined and follow the plan. One of the keys to success in trading is discipline. The whole idea of trading with technical indicators, or technical analysis and indicators and other tools is that you're taking emotion out of it. You're following a plan, you're following you know, mathematics, you're following things like market sentiment and herd mentality, all these things we learned about. So if you don't be disciplined, then you're kind of, you know, wasting a little bit of it. So be disciplined and follow the plan. And one thing that a lot of people trip up on, and as a warning, is once you establish your rules, don't change them to make something fit. You know, sometimes you might see this great strong primary indicator, say, oh, this looks like a buy, I can't wait to buy, it's so good. Let's see what the secondary says, and all of a sudden it's like, wah, wah, wah. Your secondary doesn't validate it. It doesn't confirm it. And you're like, oh, but I really want to. Maybe if I just change the time frame on the secondary, or I change a parameter on it somehow, then I can kind of make it fit. All right, well, if you're doing that, you're not being disciplined. You're basically, you know, now adjusting your rules to fit a certain situation because you've maybe been caught up in emotion, or maybe you've been caught up in, you know, like a fear of missing out. You know, there might be something more going on there. So just be aware when that happens, that don't change your rules to try to make something fit. Now, what's different than that is you can adjust your plan anytime. You can adjust your plan later, but understand that would be a new plan, right? And you'd be having a new thing. You wouldn't be continually, you know, trying to make things fit. You'd be like, okay, I'm using whatever, this candlestick pattern is my primary. Using a simple moving average over 20 days as a confirming. Now maybe you say, you know, I like that moving average confirming, but I'm going to still use my candlestick, but instead I'm going to use an exponential moving average, and instead of being 10 days, I'm going to move that out to 20 days and see how that goes for a little bit, and then I'm going to test that out and all that. So that's it, and that'll be now my new plan that I'm going to follow. That'll be the discipline that I'll follow then. So it's difference between trying to make things fit and trying to, and then later just making your plan better as you go along, because you'll continually keep updating or maybe refining your plan, you know, possibly. Or some folks, they find a great plan after a while or very quickly, and then they're like, this is how I trade, and then they just look for those opportunities, and that's great to be in that situation.